So when should you ask for a credit limit increase? Trying to figure out the best day and month to ask your bank for more credit is so annoying and stressful because they never give you clear rules about when to apply. They just sit back and watch you squirm, knowing full well that you could be hit with a hard credit pull just for requesting more credit. And this is insane. So I'll show you a person who increased their limit 9 times to $66,000 by scheduling their increases on a specific month, how one bank lets you increase your credit limit every 30 days, and how to completely avoid getting hit with a hard credit pull from certain banks during the credit limit increase process. Now, you have to avoid manually asking for credit limit increases with banks that perform a hard credit pull unless you're fully prepared to take the hit. You don't want to end up in a situation where you add another hard inquiry to your credit report for absolutely no reason and then get denied. A lot of credit unions will hit you with a hard credit pull every time you request a credit limit increase. You know, a huge example of this is Navy Federal Credit Union. If you call in to customer service, then they will almost always hard pull your credit. But if they give you an automatic increase or you apply for one through the app, then it will just be a soft pull. This is so confusing because not only does it matter if you ask for the increase yourself or not, but it also matters what form of communication you use to make the increase as well. Another big one is PenFed Credit Union, but they operate a little differently. They will hard pull your personal credit if you ask for an increase unless you receive one of their quarterly offers to increase your credit limit and then you ultimately accept. But listen, credit unions aren't the only ones who operate like this. There's also a nationwide credit card issuer that still does the same thing. It's US Bank. And from my experience, US Bank has proven to be the most conservative large credit card company and the most affected by relationship banking, similar to small or regional banks. If you try to increase your limit with them manually, then it will be a hard pull. But if they increase it automatically or they send you an offer, it's only a soft pull. Surprisingly, Chase Bank used to do the same thing just a few years ago. Now Chase has really caught up with the times and allowed their customers to see pre-approved credit card offers in the Just For You page and apply for soft pull limit increases through a dedicated button. Before you go for an increase with a bank that has a policy like this, you want to think about impact on your credit score. Consider how hard inquiry will affect your score where it's at right now. Multiple hard inquiries in a short period of time can lower your score and signal to lenders that you might be a higher risk. It impacts it a lot more if you have a thin credit profile with very few accounts with a short history. And you want to think about the likelihood of approval. You want to look and see if there are any offers for other products with the bank or any pre-approvals for other credit cards with that bank. That's going to give you a lot more confidence in the bank's willingness to lend you more money. You also want to think about the urgency of the increase. Determine whether you genuinely need the increase now or if it can wait until the bank offers it automatically. And that would allow you to completely avoid the hard credit pull. And you also want to think about alternative options. Look into other credit cards or banks that offer soft pull increases or automatic increases based on your account activity and payment history. Maybe you can find more credit with other banks that completely bypass the need for a hard pull. And you also got to look at that hard pull language. You have to watch out for any words or any phrases that could mean they're about to hit you with a hard credit pull. You got to look out for phrases like credit check or review your credit report, even detailed credit evaluation, will impact your score, full credit report access, or consent to obtain your credit report. When you see language like this, you probably want to turn around and run in the opposite direction. And by the way, if you're tired of getting hit with those hard credit pulls, especially when it comes to signing up for new credit cards, then you got to check out my free credit card pre-approval master list. I keep it updated monthly and it has over 60 cards that you can get pre-approved for without a hard credit pull whatsoever. I'll leave a link to that below so you can check it out. Now, most people don't know that you can increase your credit limit before you even activate the card. And here's an example. One person said, I applied for the Citi Double Cash on Thursday. I was approved for $6,000. They pulled Experian and Equifax. I requested a credit limit increase today and it was a hard pull. I asked for $16,000 and they gave me $13,700. I can't complain. They pulled Equifax for the credit limit increase. By the way, I have not received the card in the mail yet, but I do have a Citi Simplicity card. And there's another person, different bank. They said 4 days ago, I was approved for Alpheon credit with $3,500 credit limit. The same day I click on the credit limit increase button and I was approved for $4,200. Today I decided to try my luck again and was approved for a new credit limit of $6,000. I haven't even received the card yet. Now, I'd probably avoid taking the risk if it's a hard pull since your chances are lower, but if it's just a soft pull, why not take a shot at it to see what you get? Now, if you can't get it done early before you activate the card, it would be best to wait until 3+ billing statements cut. That means you wait for 3 bills to come out before you make the ask. This is going to be the absolute quickest time frame that most credit card companies are going to allow. You have to remember, your bill will always come out 1 to 2 days after your billing cycle closing date, which you can find near the top of any of your credit card bills. For my Capital One Venture X card, this date is the 22nd of every month. And after reviewing 100+ credit limit increase data points, I found Amex to be the most reliable when it comes to increasing your limit after 3 months. Here's an example. They said I was approved for the Blue Cash Preferred back on January 7th of 2024, albeit with a $1,000 limit. I put plenty of spend through it each month, and at 61 days tried for a credit limit increase, but no dice. Just tried this morning on April 11th of 2024 and got the option, so went for the 3x limit and was approved. New limit, $3,000. Unlike Amex, all the other banks that I reviewed required a median of 6 months to receive that first limit increase. And I was shocked to learn that some banks will increase your limit as fast as 30 days after your previous credit limit increase. 3 out of every 5 times, that bank was Discover. With Discover, all you need to show is high usage of your credit limit to unlock credit limit increases in back-to-back months. Many people consider high usage to be over 50% of your available credit limit. And here's an example. They said, I got a Discover credit limit increase today of $2,000 from $4,000 to a $6,000 limit, and one last month of $1,700 from $2,200 all the way up to $4,000. So overall, pretty happy with the results. In order to get them though, I combined a theory that many people have had for a while, which says that Discover likes constant use. To do that, I put 119% spend on it. Originally, I just put a large payment on the card, but then I kept spending on some other purchases, and the card kept approving, so I used this one instead of others until it capped me. Then I let the statement report with that balance, waiting about 2 weeks, and then paid it off in full. Since paying it off, I put about $200 in spend on the card for this statement. It has been the only card reporting a balance, and Discover did do a soft pull on my credit report on January 6th of 2024 before statement cut on January 12th. Funniest thing is that both requests have gotten approved right after I got the notification right about my statement being ready. And listen, this person did 2 things that I really like. One, they let their usage report to the credit bureaus by paying off their balance after the billing cycle closing date. And then 2, just like we talked about earlier, they waited until their statement cut to ask for an increase. A lot of banks and credit unions like Navy Federal tend to stick to that standard 6-month timeline, even with follow-up increases though. And here's a huge data point about this. They said Navy flagship credit limit increase, $8,000 to $66,000. There's 195 days since the last credit limit increase. I usually schedule mine for 195 days to be on the conservative side and stick with my own recommendation of waiting at least 190 days, not 181 days. I applied via the browser, instant approval, and it was a soft pull. And here's my past credit limit increase history. On January 2020, my starting limit was $10,000. Then in May of 2020, I had an increase of $8,000 up to $18,000. Next was November of 2020, and that was an increase of $4,000 that landed at $22,000 limit. Then in May of 2021, I had another $4,000 increase up to $26,000. Then December of 2021, another $8,000 increase up to $34,000. Next, in June of 2022, I had an $8,000 increase up to $42,000. Next is January of 2023, had an $8,000 increase again and brought me up to $50,000. Then July of 2023, another $8,000 increase up to $58,000. And again on February of 2024 with another $8,000 increase up to $66,000 where I stand now. My next request is scheduled for 190 plus days and 6 statements. As long as Navy Federal continues to allow $8,000 increases in the foreseeable future, then just 2 more to go to get the $80,000 max. And Capital One is the same way when it comes to 6-month increases. Here's a data point. They said, I started with Capital One 3 years and almost 11 months ago. I was given $1,000 to start. I requested limit increases to only be given 103 times. Then they became more generous. I was given a $2,500 increase a year and a half back and a $7,000 increase a year back. I was sitting at $10,800 and my 6 months is up today. So I requested a limit increase and was offered a $20,000 increase. My new limit limit is $30,800. Now, even though the median time to get a follow-up increase across all these banks was just 5 months, I still find that 6 months to be the sweet spot to request it. Now, there's a few hacks you can use to trigger your next credit limit increase faster and buy larger amounts every time. I'm talking about a $1,000+ increase versus a $100 increase. First, you got to spend more. Banks like to see you spending more on the card because they make even more money off of interchange fees. That's going to be from 1 to 4%, which they charge to the store when you make a purchase. You could try focusing all of your spending for the month on one card to raise your usage rate above 50% for that particular card. A credit card underwriter said, one of the things we look for are large paydowns. That means you're using a high percentage of the credit limit and then immediately paying it back down to zero every month. Another thing you can try is product changing. When I product changed my Quicksilver card into a Venture X card, Capital One allowed me to increase my limit the very next month. I was able to increase my limit twice in 60 days, which is really unheard of in the Capital One world. And then you can try opening more accounts. Let's say you open a savings account with the same bank and then deposit a few $100s, then continue to make deposits for 90 days. We call that seasoning a bank account, and it helps you strengthen your relationship with the bank so they're willing to extend more credit to you. And then you got to update your income too. The bank asks you this question for a reason. They want to see if you can handle larger debt repayments before they increase your limit. A lot of people don't know that your stated income is almost used exclusively to set your credit limit. A person asked a bank underwriter from a large bank if there's a minimum income for approval or if it's just to determine credit limit, and they said largely only for credit limits. A couple of times I've updated my income with Synchrony Bank and received an automatic credit limit increase just right after that. But here's the thing. I want you to be careful about what credit card companies you choose to get in bed with, because if you choose to cozy up to the wrong one, then it can lead to dramatically decreased limits and, even worse, closed accounts. This is exactly what happened to me and hundreds, if not thousands of other credit card holders of the X1 card. Check out the next video here to see how people got their limits slashed by over $30,000. Thank you for watching.